If you've seen the found footage film Troll Hunter, you might be convinced that trolls exist, but there are still some who don't believe. What's that, Gobber?
Trolls exist!
Oh yeah.
They steal your socks, but only the left ones.
Well, I guess that explains where my socks have gone also. But regardless on where you stand on the whole existence thing, Netflix has released its new film Troll. It feels a bit reminiscent of other movies, but is it still worth watching? Deep in the Dovre Mountains, something gigantic wakes up after 1,000 years in captivity. The creature destroys everything in its path and is quickly approaching Oslo. So if you have seen Troll Hunter, this isn't that film at all. I mean, yeah, there is a troll in this, but it's not found footage, and the people that encounter this troll didn't actually go looking for it. Now this plays out very much like a Godzilla film, where a creature is awakened and then wreaks havoc as it now finds itself in a strange place. The CGI and graphics in this are amazing to look at. I mean, the creature design for the troll is creative and seamless. It really looks like we're seeing an actual creature just traipse through the countryside and mountains. Now, just like in the Godzilla films, the human elements are less of the priority and even the interest. What is fun and really the most engaging is the lore surrounding trolls and then how this one leaves a path of destruction wherever it goes. There are moments with visuals and sound design that are going to remind you of Jurassic Park, where we hear a low rumble and then we see liquid tremor in a glass. I mean, it's a great visual representation that is something massive is just about to approach. Now, the movie also takes its time before revealing the actual look of the troll to us. We see carnage and destruction, but that's about it, until the reveal, which I think is creepy and cool all at the same time. Now, it would have been even more surprising and engaging if this reveal hadn't been shown already in the trailer. So, if you've not seen the trailer, the unveiling of the creature is done in a great way. Now, even though the human element takes a backseat in the interest level of this story, there's still a great relationship arc that is explored between a father and daughter. Now, I enjoyed the arc that's established, where we first meet them when the daughter is young, and then later in the story where she's an adult, and now there's a divide between the two. This makes for some strained banter that does add a bit of touching emotion, but the one bummer with this is that when their issues are addressed, the resolution is rushed. It's still a sweet sentiment, but it could have been more dramatic and impacting if a little more time was devoted to their conversations. Now, the thing I wasn't prepared for in this movie is how sad it actually is. As we get towards the climax, there's an overwhelming sense of melancholy because we've been given a ton of understanding of the context to what the creature is doing and why. And within this, there is some lore that's begun, and I could watch a ton of that backstory because it feels like it could be so rich for storytelling. But that backstory, it's just touched upon with only enough information to really allow us to emotionally connect to the creature. And that means when everything then comes to a head, the ending just may not be as satisfying as it means to be. Now, the cinematography in this is stunning, especially in the ways the mountains and landscapes are captured, which typically with just some sunlight streaming in from behind to cast this small warm glow to an otherwise very cold landscape. And the action is captured really well also, with excitement created with the angles providing movement and intensity. And then they're made even crazier when we get to see the troll. The effects are executed really well, making a lot of what happens on screen feel legit and not CGI'd. Now, the chase aspect of this is fun too, especially when the troll reaches populated places. There are even elements that feel like they're out of King Kong as the giant monster just swipes its arms at things flying around it. Again, scenes like this make for some exciting watching, but in these, there's not a lot of depth that's attained within the story. And that's a portion where the story actually falters. It has some emotional arcs to it, and like I'd mentioned, some do have a bit of weight to them. But as a whole, this is really just a surface-level action flick with a huge monster that leaves a wake of destruction in its path, and then the humans are all just racing to stop it. Now, there is a bit of comedy that's included too, but most of it comes across as cheesy, at least when there are jokes that are attempting to be made. I mean, when the characters are simply just quirky but real, then that comedy works. It made me chuckle because of the looks and the retorts, they just felt natural. When they were trying to crack a funny though, that's when I didn't laugh. Now, thankfully, the film moves at a fairly quick pace and doesn't waste much time getting into the action. I mean, this is an hour and 41 minutes, so it is a pretty fast watch. But I still think the story could have benefited from a few extra moments here and there between the characters to create more emotional connectedness and then have some of the resolutions that are reached feel more earned. I mean, still though, as it stands, I didn't get bored with this. So overall, Troll is a fun jaunt through the Norwegian countryside filled with a path of destruction that's very much like a kaiju film. The special effects are beautifully crafted with excellent detail in the creature design. Unfortunately, the human element isn't as compelling as the monster, even though there is an arc that begins to swell with emotion. As a casual watch, this is decent and entertaining, but it's not memorable or lasting. There's no sex or nudity, a lot of profanity, and some crazy violence. I give Troll 3 out of 5 couches. So what's a good creature feature that you enjoy? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.